Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. And hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, aka YBK, and just letting you know there's a chance that we could end the night if those Seattle Mariners decide they're going to drop a game to Atlanta. They play Atlanta tonight, correct?
Oh, last night, technically, right? Yeah.
So
They're through a couple of innings right now as we
we could be in first place at the time.
Could be, yeah. By
But
the
we don't
time
know.
or we could be a full game back. You never
It's
know.
possible.
We'll see
Be optimistic here. If we're a full game back, we don't have to talk about it because we won't be on today. We won't be on to talk about it. So anyway, hey, this is your boy Kevin, aka YBK, Kevin Frazier. If you want to find me on social media, that's Kevin Lee Frazier. If you want to find Texas Rangers with the Boys on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
And joining me, my co-host, 300 Panimal, the Panimal. The 300-pound manimal, the 300-pound manimal, aka Bull. How you doing, buddy? If I didn't mess up your name, somebody was going to because they do it all the time.
Mandible. Oh my God, Mandible in East Texas is I can't get past it, man. I can't get past it. Next time I go out there, I'm just gonna wrestle as Aaron Pro. Mandible. Like it's like they don't even make a word like mandible or something like that. Like they just like put manimal and bull together, and that's who I am to them. Yes. And it is what it is. I mean, the promoters, the fans, I mean, the people that put up and take down the ring, the boys. It's out of control out there. Like, I mean, I know that education isn't a priority in East Texas, but golly. You got to love them, though. You got to love them.
I mean, I can't disagree with you there. Well, hey, did you tell them social medias or?
No, I didn't even get started on that. We started talking about Mandible. You ruined my name so bad that we had to start the show completely over there.
Beautiful.
It was, but yeah, you find me on the X, Twitter, Mandible Bull, Instagram, Mandible 300, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. As long as TikTok's available, I'll be over there, but I'm not going to be focusing on it just right now until the dust settles a little bit on TikTok. But, we're doing good over here. We're getting through a Monday into a Tuesday, and baseball will be back tonight. It's always a tough night when we don't have any Rangers baseball. And last night was one of those nights where we get that off day as much as we know the Rangers need it, especially after – 17 and 17 days, then the off day, and then a week's worth of baseball with another off day. It'll be great. And, they've got the Nationals coming into town. Unfortunately, no Joe Gallo. No Joey Gallo with the club. He's going to be on the injured list. I know a lot of Ranger fans like Joey Gallo. I was not exactly the biggest Joey Gallo fan, but it was fun to see him hit balls 400 feet. Man,
he hit that one in the luxury box that one time. Remember that?
He hit some balls a long ways. Remember when he hit that one like 3/4 of the way up the hill at Anaheim? That one was pretty impressive. Like Trout didn't even move.
I know what you're trying to do. I'm
trying to get you to start the show without me telling everybody that on May 24th, which is a Friday night, it's the Friday before Memorial Day. Get your Memorial Day weekend started right, bro. With Matt War Pro, Slam and Destroy 2. They're back at the Southside Preservation Hall, which is just a stone's throw south of Interstate Highway 30 in downtown, or just south there, South Fort Worth, the South Side Preservation area. There's a bunch of neighborhoods in there. It's right by John Peter Smith Hospital and the brand new skate park. And they just opened up a brand new gym right there on the corner. So, you can get your workout in. Then you can kick some ollies or whatever the skater guys do, and then come on out, watch the professional wrestling. Get you a hot dog from Big Dog's Hot Dogs, a hamburger from Kelly's Onion Burgers. Go inside, get you some of that Martin House beer that's going to be given away for free all night long. As long as you can show them an ID that says that you are 21 years old, they're going to serve you some of the fine Martin House brews. I'm sure they'll have the pickle beer. I'm sure they'll have some of their fun creations that they've made. I personally loved it when they had the Hey Monkey, who's driving the car or whatever from the Grandma's Boy. But anyways, they'll be there with the beer. Starry's Ice Cream will be there with the dessert. So get you some ice cream, get you some food, get you some beer. Come watch some fantastic professional wrestling starring the guys from Mat War Pro Wrestling. And that's Friday, May 24th, Memorial Day weekend, bro. Get on out there. Start your Memorial Day weekend right with Mat War Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, we're gonna have to tell that story. It's got to happen. We'll
get to it. It's really just an average triple shot weekend for for us. It's just like stuff like that happened every weekend at certain points. One day I'll have to tell about the time I wrestled at a seance. That's a pretty fun one. In Mexico City on the Day of the Dead. Like on Halloween, the day before the Day of the Dead. Yeah, it was intense. It was intense.
Well,
I slept on the floor where they left the provided food. Have I gone too far?
Well, what I'm trying to do is get us into our around the league topic of the day, and I am here for it. Anytime we're going to talk about baseball gear, equipment, field dimensions.
Oh, you're definitely the apparel guy.
Like in baseball, like the props and the equipment, all of that part of baseball is one of my very favorite parts about the game. And today we're going to talk about one of my very favorite topics, if not like besides the game itself, my favorite topic, that is uniforms and Nike, who created the biggest, and Fanatics. You got to throw Fanatics in there too. But there was the blame game of it was their fault. It's our fault.
Their fault. Yeah. The bottom line was they shouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah. The uniforms have been a huge topic of conversation. Started in spring training. I had high hopes that once the season started that they would be better. And I would go out on a limb and say that they're actually probably worse now that the season has started. And now we're going to looks like the people are going to get what they asked for.
They were so bad, in fact, that they're changing them back.
Yeah, they're going to be making adjustments, fixing, quote unquote, the uniforms and getting them back to the way that I guess everybody liked them. The way everybody liked them better before. So this is going to be a thing. I'm actually really excited about it. I think the uniforms were a problem. And they're obviously bad. It's funny because before the story broke, we were talking about this. I was texting you about, I was like, gosh, the Reds, like even like it was like the Reds on the jersey was like this big. And then on the back, the names were like tiny. And then even their hoodies, you could see like they had the same kind of print. And it was like, I don't know.
Maybe they're celebrating the fact that we're getting rid of these terrible jerseys that we've been talking about since day one of spring training, right? I mean, this has been a topic of discussion around the league, around our show. We noticed it. You've noticed. I mean, like, it's not just the uniforms, it's the apparel. God help me if they ever leave New Era hats. I might be done with it. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you know, I'm gonna love baseball, but I mean, like, Majestic did such a good job. They always had such a fine product when it came to not just the uniforms, but the apparel that came along with Texas Rangers baseball. And ever since Nike has taken over, I mean, I've bought several T-shirts that I've worn maybe a handful of times, and they're not wearable anymore after being washed a handful of times.
You
I mean,
bring up a
the
good point.
product.
I bought a playoff T-shirt or a playoff T-shirt last year. I bought it in my normal size. And of course, like you're at the stadium, you can't like try it on. You're not going to take it back to the stadium because it's like playoff apparel. You're not going to be able to like,
Yeah,
it's the only playoff game.
that's the idea, right? That you
Right,
buy
like,
it, you're gonna.
Man, I put that thing on and it was like, I was like, come on, I can't even wear this.
I know, and then think about that. I mean, you're a normal size guy. I'm a big fat guy, so like when you're you know, I mean, I need my shirts to like kind of try and hide my atrociousness, you know. I mean, yeah,
I would say that's your lovableness.
Oh, well, fair, okay. Some say atrociousness, some say lovableness, but tomato, I would say.
Right,
but
right.
but seriously, I mean, back to the product. I mean, when you're buying bootleg championship apparel because it fits right, you know, I mean, that says a lot about the product because you know me and you know me for 20 plus years now. I have absolutely no problem spending money on things that I like to do or I like or I want.
I agree.
So for me to look at Fanatics and say, I don't want any of this, you know, I mean, like it goes a long ways. And like I said, I mean, the shirt I'm wearing right now, that's a championship shirt, is a bootleg shirt that, I mean, I'm completely happy with it because every time I put it on, it fits the exact same way. And that's not the case with the new Fanatic stuff. And it goes back to when they changed over to Nike, you know, a couple of years ago. And this year you could tell with the uniform that it's become a problem within everything. So we'll see what happens when they go back. They're changing the lettering back to bigger lettering. I don't know why you would have changed that in the first place. I don't know what the point of that would be. Doesn't make sense, right?
It you know, it's funny. I said off air that I think, oh, you know, it's probably wasn't for cost cutting purposes, you know, like that. But the more I put two and two together, okay, you know, like the more I put two and two together, I really think, okay, material that's see through means it's not as thick. Material that doesn't wick sweat as well, which we saw the other night.
Oh, between Dane Dunning and old Abbott for the Reds, I mean, you could have wrung both of those out and filtered that into water for the teams.
Yeah, so the sweat wicking's not as good. The tailoring's not as good. The lettering is smaller, which means less fabric needed. Like it really is starting, the more I think about it, it really sounds like Nike went cheap.
Well, and it's so not Nike to do that. But at the same time, when you look at the jerseys and how much they were charging for them, and they wanted $400+ for a Texas City Connect jersey. I mean, you know, if I'm going to pay $400 for a jersey, it needs to fit me right for the rest of my life. I mean, unless I do something about it that puts me in a position.
And with like a season like the Rangers had last year, to like, for me, it's like I have a jersey that that should be one. I mean, I'm not a jersey, but a t-shirt that like I would like to wear until it's like worn. You know what I mean? Like worn. Yeah, I want to wear that thing out. I want to wear it to the gym. I want to wear it to games. I want to wear it to. I can't wear that thing, man. I'm gonna have to go get it tailored.
Like, oh yeah, I a couple of years ago.
My size, like it's a large. You know, like that's what I wear in everything. And so,
and on top of that, I mean, they're more expensive than they've ever been in everything. Right. Whether it be T-shirts, whether it be jerseys, whether it be hats, whether it be, and the only thing that seems to fit the same way are the hats.
Well, yeah, you can't. new era. You can't fault them too much.
Well, they're all handmade, and
yeah, you can't fault New Era. They're doing a good job with it. Eventually they'll become mega quadrillionaires and probably start doing the same crap Nike's doing. But for now, we're good. But yeah, I mean, I think it's it's a good thing. We're stuck this year though. There ain't no. This is what we got. I mean, they're not going to take out last year's uniforms and start wearing those. You'd like to think that they don't. I don't know. Do they? I mean, it's pro baseball. Do they wear the same jersey?
I don't think so. I don't think they have I think they're new uniforms every game.
Well, they probably made all those uniforms pre-made them. They're all probably already made and all that stuff. So chance.
Well, I don't know about that because remember the Rangers couldn't use their City Connect jerseys in their first home Friday night game because they weren't ready yet.
Holy moly. Oh
yeah, so that's been another problem with Nike is not having the product to the teams in time. I will say this, that Tampa Bay Rays, the new City Connect, them and the Mets, both of those are good looks. I know the Mets have more meaning or whatever as far as the club, but they have, a longer franchise history. And the Devil Rays, I mean, give me a Devil Ray doing a kick flip on a skateboard and you got me.
Sold. I like the dark gray. Let's see how they look on, but Tampa, I really like Tampa's powder blue look. Like whether it's on the road or at home, their powder blue look with the powder blues, and it's not like a super
navy
top. Yeah, and it's not an over the top blue. And they wear the white pants or the gray pants with the navy hat with that little yellow, whatever that thing is.
The ray. That's the ray of sunshine.
Okay, well, it's a nice look. I like that look, but. So yeah, we're gonna get new jerseys next year. I wonder what it means to go back to the old jerseys. Like, what does that even mean?
Well, I guess it's the first thing is it admits that Nike's new idea is a failure.
Right, that they did something different.
Yeah, and it's admitting that these aren't the same uniforms. They didn't use the same lettering, all of that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it means for anything, but it seems like either Nike really cheaped out or they tried to reinvent a wheel that did not need to be reinvented. And right. It's basically one of those two things. I lean towards the cheap route just because of but if you want to give benefit of the doubt, why would you go back to a square wheel when you've got a round wheel that works so well?
Perfectly fine. Well, yeah. Let's go ahead.
Pivot.
I'm excited. Honestly, we don't always we probably should ask our listeners a little bit more often what they think. But hey, give us some feedback. I got you guys in the fantasy chat. I got the fantasy chat. We got social media. Tell us what you think about the jersey situation. Are you excited? What are your takes? I mean, I would love to hear it because I bet there's going to be some funny takes that we can.
Well, and other questions on the uniform and the jersey, the apparel uniform jerseys. Have you had the same problems that me and Kevin have had with apparel not fitting after a handful of washes, not fitting in the first place, being entirely too small? I mean, I bought a 3X sweatshirt the other day for a 3/4 zip. And I had to give it to my brother, who's like 2 full sizes smaller than that wears an extra large T-shirt, and he could barely fit the hoodie that I got. So I got to imagine that it's not just us. It's not just I'm not trying to buy 5X clothing. It goes up after it starts going up.
Okay, well, Jersey talk has been fun.
Yeah, pivot to
Let's move on.
baseball.
Let's jump into some Rangers talk now, real quick. I didn't preview what we're going to talk about today, but we're going to talk a little bit about like Rangers April. Maybe give grades. That'd be fun. And then
Maybe.
if you want, we didn't talk about off air, but maybe give some grades or like how the team,
Or ratings as a whole, like maybe the infield, outfield, starting
something like
pitching.
that. We're going to talk about Max Scherzer a little bit here in a second, and then
We're going to preview.
Yeah, we're
preview Washington, the Joey Gallo-less Washington Nationals. I don't think that hurts them just a ton.
I don't think so.
I don't think they're. This isn't the 2023 Nationals. Although we went to Washington last year right before the All-Star break and got our butts kicked by the young upstart Nationals.
We liked to go on the road and get our butt kicked by National League teams that weren't that good last year.
Cincinnati, Washington. Here we have them at home, back to back.
When did Milwaukee? I mean, they were pretty good, but when did Milwaukee just drum us? Was it at home?
It was right around the All-Star break too. It was right before that trade deadline. San Diego did it too. San Diego swept the Rangers last year on the road as well.
Yeah.
One good thing about April this year, there's no sweeps to talk about.
Well,
actually, there's no sweeps to talk about either way. The Rangers had no sweeps, and they didn't get swept for the whole month. Let's start though. Today, we're going to talk about it because that's the news of what's going on with the Rangers. Is Scherzer is going to make a rehab start tonight down in Corpus Christi. I imagine he'll be back with the club Wednesday and Thursday. With it being Tuesday, he may make another rehab on Sunday, just every fifth day. And, I imagine that they'll stay away from Albuquerque just because it's high elevation. No need for him to go out there and throw pop-ups and have him end up not being able to get out of innings and get his up down.
It affects him throwing the ball too. Like if the ball flies out of the yard, the ball's flying out of his hand, and it doesn't give him a real correlation to coming back down to sea level and pitching.
Well, and it's important for him to get up and down too, like to pitch innings. To if he's got 85 pitches, the idea is let's see if he can get at least 4, hopefully 5, maybe 6, depending on things. But you're getting up downs. You want him to pitch, then sit down. Then you want him to pitch, you want him to sit down. And you don't want it to be a thing where he's throwing 30, 35 pitches to get out of an inning because dudes are hitting pop-ups that are flying out of the yard. And I think that's probably why Corpus Christi, Albuquerque is 6,500, 6,800 feet in Albuquerque. So it's like pitching at Mile High Stadium with no humidifier, and you don't get any of those luxuries that you have in Major League Baseball at AAA.
Right. Well, hey, let's
get into it. Yeah, April. Hey, man, baseball. April 1st started the worst possible way that it could with the Josh Young injury. Yeah. We can push it back to opening day, and Rangers winning ball game and taking a series from Chicago, taking series from Tampa Bay, and then the split with Houston. The overall the first they played 6-4 through the first 10 games, and then played 4-6 through the next 10, and they've been hanging around 500 so far this year, and to me, I always think of baseball in that sense, right? That you try and hang around 500. You play good enough baseball until you have that run. Last year, we got to watch the Rangers run right off the bat. Mm-hmm. We saw it right out of the gates. The Rangers were winning ball games. They got to a point where they were, 8 or 10 games over 500 right there off the bat in April. And this year that didn't happen, but we saw them compete every night. We saw even in games where they were down by big numbers in the late innings, they fought all the way till the end. Even in Saturday's game, they made it 8-4, got into the bullpen a little bit deeper for the Reds, didn't give them the luxury of not using their closer. They've done that a handful of times this year. So sure, it may be garbage time runs and they may not have came back and won those games, but we've seen them compete all the way down to the final out on most nights throughout April. Bunch of close games. I mean, we haven't just seen them get blown out a ton. We've seen a couple of games, get away from them late in innings, but not really, a whole lot of blowouts. They did, gosh, they did lose 2 out of 3 to Oakland at home. That probably, you don't want to see that. They had the 17-game stretch where they played 8 and 9 over that stretch. They had a 5 and 5 10-game road trip that had trips to Houston, Detroit, and Atlanta, which coming out of their 500, especially banged up. I mean, at one point using Jack Leiter as a spot start already in April. They're so far this homestand right now that they're on at 500 homestand. They lost 2 or 3 to Seattle. They caught some really good pitching performances from Castillo and I want to say it was Gilbert, maybe even Miller. I can't remember who all they faced, but and then take 2 or 3 from a really talented young Cincinnati team for a team that isn't hitting exactly how we figured that they would coming out of the gates. For a team that we didn't know what the starting pitching would look like in April. They've been okay. They're hanging around. And like we've talked about on the show in the past couple of days, is they look like the type of team that could break out of this any time now and go on a big long run.
Yeah, I think I am very optimistic about the team long term. I think the biggest concern I think that I've noticed or would just be kind of like more unexpected than anything, and that would be the offense and just kind of the inconsistency with the offense. And so I think we probably expected a little more out of the offense during this time of the season, because we want them, we'd like to see them carry the team a little more. But here's the thing, and just hear me out here. So, it's really funny because baseball and football like kind of flip in this regard, because offense in baseball is a little bit similar to defense in football, where you can have a season in football where your defense kind of has kind of amazing things go their way. There's a lot of controllables, but there's a lot of things that happen to a football team on defense that can kind of be uncontrollable, and I think with the Rangers, hitting is a lot like that as well. And I expected some regression this year from the offense, not because they're not as good, but because so many things last year went right, they went in their favor. Now switching the roles back, like pitching to me though, is very much like offense in football, in that there's a lot more control that you have over the pitching element of the game than you do over the offensive element of the game. And again, this could be debatable, but it's something that you have a little bit more control. So for me, like my hope was that the offense would carry them, but I also like in the back of my mind, like didn't expect it 100%. And I still expect some element of regression this year with the offense. It doesn't mean they're not as good as they were last year. It's just like there was a lot of things last year that was like kind of the stars aligned.
Well, and don't forget that last year in April, the Rangers were matching the 27 Yankees.
Right.
Offensively.
So yes. See, and that's my point. So again, when I say that the offense has kind of been a little bit of a letdown, I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean that it kind of timed itself at the wrong time, because man, had we had a few more of those like late inning kind of, or like, extra runs tacked on by the offense like we saw last year as the games went on, we'd probably be sitting 2 or 3 more games over 500 right now, and probably a couple games ahead of Seattle in the division. But what I have liked watching the games is the Rangers have played really, really tough baseball in these close games. And like we've kind of talked about, sometimes things haven't bounced their way, just little circumstantial things that like I don't feel like it was like mental lapses, key errors. The only thing I would say that like the big one that's like sticks in my head more than anything, and obviously runners in scoring position is one of them, but that to me falls second. It's bad pitches with 2 outs, 2 strikes. Like when it's like you didn't even have to throw a strike there, or you had something you could have given a little bit and not just groove something to a guy. That I think has probably been the only like real like that I would say like Rangers have had that you can control that, right? Like runners in scoring position, sometimes it just doesn't go your way. You make great contact. You hit a ball 120 freaking miles an hour right at somebody. If it had been just a hair bit that way, man. But like Dane Dunning, and I'm not picking on him. I'm just using he's the first thing that comes to my head. 0-2, just here, grooves of 90 ball.
And
it's like
that's how Dane Dunning kind of ends up at a point where he's at like a 46% hard hit rate, is because they're not killing him, but when they do hit him, they're hitting him hard.
Right.
And as well as I do that 75% of stuff hit hard in Major League Baseball is just an out.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
But man, that other 25% really looks devastating whenever it's, leaving the yard. Dane Dunning's given up almost as many home runs this year as he did all of last year. There's little things like that, but then we also look at his performance on Sunday and the 10 strikeouts over 5 1/3 innings and being able to get himself in a position to put the Rangers in a nice spot to win a ball game. So, there's been that, there's been the good, there's been the bad. I don't think anybody thought that the Rangers this year were going to come out and be the 27 Yankees again in April. That's a one-time thing. For any team to really do that, that's the Yankees, then the Rangers, and the Rangers only did it for a month and a half, 2 months at tops, right, where the Yankees put that together for a whole entire season. It's a hard thing to do. And it's not 1927 anymore. You're not seeing a pitcher 4 or 5 times a game. You're not seeing, guys trying to get you out with junk instead of 100-mile-an-hour fastballs all day from a starting pitcher, and then guys coming in from the bullpen that are somehow throwing harder than he is. And, right, it's a completely different game. And so I don't think any of us expected that. But overall, management-wise, from Bruce Bochy, you got a grade for Bruce Bochy?
I got to give Bruce Bochy A+ because of like, if we don't have him, I really believe this thing could have been the wheels
could have already fallen off.
Completely off. But like, he seems to be making the right moves at the right time. He seems to understand his pitching staff better than probably anybody else does. He'll make moves he'll make a move one night and make a completely different move the other night. And sometimes they go good, sometimes they don't. Most of the time they do go really good. I think without Bruce Bochy, and we talked about this off season too. Like we were like, hey, no matter what's going on, we've had some questionable things going on this off season, but we got Bruce Bochy, and we can count on that to be a stabilizing factor. Bruce Bochy gets a solid A+ from me. Like, this team is lost without him. The way he's managed the young players on this team and kind of been able to pull strings with them has been really, really incredible. And I feel like he's like, and I don't mean this in a negative, but he just does not make emotional decisions. Like, everything seems to be tactical, thinking about the big picture. There's just
and anytime he leaves a pitcher or something like that in for too long, it's because he trusts that pitcher, and he doesn't. Like the other night with Lorenzen, he expected Lorenzen to go out there and get him a couple more outs before he went to the bullpen, and that didn't happen that night. But that doesn't mean that it's a mistake from. One second, I got to wake my dog BB up. He's having a nightmare.
Oh.
BB. BB. It's okay, Bubba. All right. He was having a nightmare. He was over there
Here-
going a little bit crazy. So I had to give him the old wake up call.
Yeah,
Tails wagging, all is good. So BB he's doing okay now. But Bochy, yeah, I give him an A too. I don't know, A plus. That's tough for anybody. But yeah, somewhere between an A plus probably. Like a 95, 96, something like that on the scale, but he's been the stable, calming force that he's always been, not just as a Rangers manager, but San Francisco, San Diego, everywhere he's been. It doesn't ever seem like the stage is too big for him and that he doesn't have the right move in his back pocket. Even when he doesn't make the right move, it was the right move. It just didn't work out the way that you wanted it to that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
What do you want?
Let me kick it over to you.
All right.
How do you feel about? Let's go with the position. I guess position players. The way we call it.
You want to do infield, outfield, catcher. How you want to do that? What do you think?
Let's keep catcher on the infield. So let's just go infield.
Okay, infield. Overall, I don't think the infield has been too terrible. The Josh Young injury is really painful in my opinion because, like we talked about yesterday, the ball was coming off of his bat different this year early in the season. He was a lot of power in his at bats that we saw early on. So that hurts quite a bit. But Josh Smith has been steady over there at third base. He's earned the right to play over there. Corey Seager has been great defensively. Offensively, it hasn't quite come around just yet, but it's April. I'm not extremely worried about Corey Seager. Marcus Semien has been Marcus Semien. No slow start this year. He's been steady over there at second base. He's come through in times where the Rangers have needed him. I think he's collected somewhere around 2 WAR already through the month of April. So, Semien's been great. They got a little bit of good from Jared Walsh, quite a bit of bad. Ezekiel Duran did okay over there, didn't hit quite like they needed. And since Nate Lowe's been back, you've started to see his stick be what you thought it was going to be and what you knew it was. And then Jonah Heim you've seen him take leaps again this year, and he's improved again from where he was just this time last year. And Andrew Kisner's been just fine as a backup catcher so far.
Okay. As far as
a grade, probably like a B minus. We're going to need more offense from the middle. We're going to need to see Lowe, and we got to get Young back. But Smith, like I said, he's been a nice guiding force there to kind of keep things rolling the way they needed to.
Yeah, I think you're being super nice with these guys. I can't give them any higher. The only reason I give them the grade I'm going to give them is because of Josh Smith. And maybe the defensive element has been pretty good. But like I got to give them C plus-ish because Semien and Seager have to produce. There's 475 million reasons why those guys have to produce. It's not Josh Young's fault he got hurt. So I'm not like grading him down because he got hurt, but he got hurt. And so that takes production away. Jared Walsh was nice for a second, like literally a second. Getting Nate Lowe back, I think, is going to help. But overall, it's really been an underperformance from the only thing I got to give it a C plus because I'm throwing Jonah Heim in there. Without Josh Smith and Jonah Heim have probably been the biggest influence. But when you're talking about Seager, Semien, Jared Walsh, Zeke Duran, like all of those guys have all, obviously Walsh did okay, but like they've all underperformed. And for me, with Seager and Semien, like I'm gonna love the guys. I'm a Ranger guy. They're my team, but like they have the highest level of accountability of everybody on the team. Period. And that's just because of the contract, the pressure, all of that. We didn't. Hey, you earned that right, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's kind of my take on it. I give them a C
I
plus
like I
because of
like that. I like that you told me that I was being extremely nice with my B minus,
and
and
I
then you gave him a C plus. Like that isn't just the next grade down.
yeah, I know. I kind of like backed off a little bit because of Jonah Heim because I feel like this team in many
Well,
ways
and again,
offensively is
you
lost
know,
right now.
maybe Simeon hasn't been the production that you might want, but a 2 WAR for a month is a pretty good number. And I mean, not a super slow start, not a super fast start, but just kind of that steady guy that Simeon is every day in the lineup. But yeah, overall, I would say B minus. C plus seems fair too. We know that there needs to be more production from the
The two guys.
infield on a month-to-month basis, and May needs to be better for this team to be better than 500 like they were this month.
Yeah, and then I'll go ahead and jump into the outfield. Um, because of Adolis Garcia, they can get. I'll give them a B minus in the defense. Defensively, there's been some pretty good play, but we've also had some defensive blunders in the outfield as well. So it's really Garcia is the thing bringing it up. And I mean, Wyatt Langford, the one thing he has been is consistent more than anything. Now, Evan Carter, I'm glad he's going through it because it's part of like the growing pains. But one of the things that we were hoping to see from Carter was that he was going to be playing on days when they face lefties. And now he's starting to be sat on the bench when they play lefties. So that's a big problem. Leody Tavares defensively has been okay. He hasn't been bad, but he's just been okay. Offensively, he's been kind of like really, really hit or miss, no pun intended. And Adolis Garcia, kind of the MVP of the team right now, kind of the only guy that really came out of the blocks like firing on all cylinders and is still doing that. 25 runs batted in the month of April. Hitting opposite field home runs still. Like he looks like he hasn't missed a beat. And so big props to El Bombi. But and then Travis Jankowski, maybe he's providing veteran leadership. And yes, he did win us a game, that very first game of the season. But overall, we haven't got a whole heck of a lot out of Jankowski thus far, offensively to kind of bring, and again, we expected regression. So I'm not, but there's my 2 cents on the outfield.
Garcia has been the man. He's on pace for 40 plus home runs, 140 RBIs. Yeah, he had a fine April. Carried the team a lot of the time offensively. Evan Carter, kind of a slow start hitting wise, but he's continued to get on base. He's played good defense in left field. He has struggled a little bit with his defense in right field. If you ask me, I think he's more suited for left or center. And then Leody Tavares, you're seeing him hit the ball hard. You're seeing him not hit it right at guys right at the moment. You'd like to see that change a little bit. Defensively, maybe a mishap here or there, but I think overall he's been pretty decent out there. The backups, Langford's played good defense when they've asked him to play out in left field. I think, him and Carter are going through growing pains, but like we talked about with Bochy, he knows what he's got in those two guys. He knows what he wants out of them, and he's going to see it, and he's going to keep going with it because there's no one really that's going to take their spots, and there's no one down below that's on the verge of taking over or anything like that. So you grow with them a little bit, and you hope that the rest of the lineup kind of takes the pressure off of them a little bit. And for a 500 team they have, but for this team to be better than 500, they're going to need more out of Carter and Langford going forward. Jankowski is what he is. I don't hate Jankowski. I don't love Jankowski. I don't, could that money have been spent differently in the offseason, sure, but I don't. I think he earned a contract the way he played last year. And then, you can see Zeke or Josh Smith out in the outfield at some point this season too, if need be. If one of those guys gets on a heater or something, or if Josh Smith is losing at bats somewhere else, you might see him move out to the outfield and get at bats. But overall, yeah, somewhere around a B minus, something like that for the outfield. It's been okay. It's been, B minus would be perfect, because I would say maybe just a smidge over average.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's take it away for bullpen. I'll jump in on bullpen. Yeah.
I'll start on the bullpen here if you don't mind, because I think it's been surprisingly good. I think they found pieces. They found guys in this bullpen that are going to get outs for them. They've been able to, kind of look at what they have, and the back end is starting to shore up with Leclerc being a little bit more stable at the end of the month. But then at the same time, Yates and Robertson have been locked down back there. Jacob Latz is getting more high pressure situations because he's been good and he's deserved it. They're kind of finding out that Cole Winn might be a piece that's going to get outs for him out of this bullpen. And then they've got, they've gotten really good work from Jose Urena as the long man. And, not a whole lot of complaints. I mean, there's, guys that didn't do well. Yeri didn't do well, and he's not on the club anymore. I can't remember who all has been up and down. Grant Anderson has had better days up and, but he wasn't, when called upon, he did what he needed to do a couple of times too. But overall, you haven't seen any nights where, outside of one Leclerc blown save, I think they just have the one, maybe two blown saves. One of those games that just tied the game up. But yeah, no, the bullpen has been great. Kirby Yates has been really good in the closer position. And Robertson has been right there to help him get to that spot. And then I'm very impressed with Latz and Wynn and what they've done so far. And then Urena. For a stopgap and what you need out of him, he's done it every time.
Yeah, I mean, Urena was like a non-roster invite. Like nobody expected much. Yeah. He's borderline electric with the stuff. His command.
Some days he is.
Yeah, if his command's there, he is fantastic. I'll kind of just jump right in here. I mean, I would say the bullpen has been the highlight of this part of the season. Like they've been the highlight.
Yeah, I would agree.
Below expectations, we didn't have super lofty expectations from the bullpen. But at the same time, we knew we were trying to we didn't know what the upgrades were going to be and if they were going to be substantial. I'll say one thing. If this turns out to be one of those seasons where Rangers make a deep run, blah, 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 and if there's any magic that comes out of this season, David Robertson is a Ranger for life. I mean, already
he's like 50, so.
I mean, he's a guy that automatically endeared himself to me as a Ranger fan right off the bat. Has just, I don't know, man, guys like that seem to stabilize a young team. And I think he's been a stabilizing force. And I would be willing to bet he's had just as much of an impact on the bullpen and on the pitching staff as Max Scherzer or Jacob deGrom or even Mike Maddox. This guy has been phenomenal from the very get-go, attitude-wise, the competitiveness, his tenacity, just professional, man. Kirby Yates, I mean, kind of a reclamation project. Kirby Yates, I think if he has two really good seasons with the Rangers, he could be a guy that could be up for another nice little contract as a closer going forward. So big props to him. Two great signings for very little revenue from Chris Young on this. Yeah. Leclerc, we've already talked about him a little bit. It's a kind of the jury's still out, which is crazy as long as he's been pitching for the Rangers. And as much as we saw last year from him, like
it's good, and
but,
the
but
Spores injury. I forgot to talk about Spores. I don't.
yeah, the jury's
Little
still
bit
out.
injury.
Yeah, the jury's still out on. I'll kick it back to you for Spores here in a sec. The jury's still out on Leclerc, and then when you talk about Latz, like what a great like addition he's been. Like the guys that are on that other side of the bullpen, like they're not your best guys, so you don't have the same level of expectations. But to see some of the stuff that we've seen from him, to see like Cole Winn, are you kidding me? So I do expect, to be honest, not to be a Debbie Downer, I do expect to see a little regression from the bullpen at some point. But for right now, they have been a huge bright spot for the team. And probably like as far as like grade, I got to give them an A. Like I can't go as far as A plus.
Yeah, I give them an A too.
Yeah, I don't know what we'd do without them.
And one of the reasons why I don't know that the regression will be as vast as you're thinking here is because as starting pitching gets better, you're going to start moving good starting pitching into your bullpen. Mm-hmm. And that's going to give those bullpen guys, an opportunity to find their roles with the starting pitchers moving back in there. And it's going to give them even more depth, like we just talked about last night with the organizational depth. That's just going to make this team deeper. And Heaney, Dunning, Gray, those three guys could be in the bullpen by the end of the season. And that makes your bullpen a lot better. So I give them an A for April, not like an A as in April, A for April, but an A for the month of April. And starting pitching, I'm going to let you start there. I'll finish up. We got to get going quick because we're running out of time here. We got to get done here in the next couple of minutes.
Well, I'll give you a quick on the starting pitching. I got to go C. There have been ups. There have been ups and downs with the starting pitching. Just hasn't been consistent. I don't know how I can go much higher than a C. We've seen some good and we've seen some not so good from everybody through there. I think Nate Eovaldi's probably been the highlight of the starting pitching, even when he's bad. And I say bad, but not at his best. He's still just competitive every single pitch out there. I don't think we've seen the best the best we're gonna see from Andrew Heaney, from John Gray, from Dane Dunning. I'm still not 100% sold on Dunning as far as just him being maybe last year. I mean, we just got to see more consistent. You got to see it, like these other guys, we've got years of seeing them do stuff, and in Dunning, we don't have that with him. I think Cody Bradford was on a roll to possibly really be a bright spot in this rotation. So, overall starting pitching, Lorenzen, he's just getting going. So again, the jury's still a little bit out on that, but overall I give it a C. I do think we expect it to go as it goes on.
This is going to be the farthest that we've asked, like the difference in grades. Because I'm going to give the starting pitching a B plus. And why I'm going to give the starting pitching a B plus is because the biggest concern going into the regular season was starting pitching. Are they going to have starting pitching? Do they have enough starting pitching? What are they going to do about starting pitching? What are we doing about starting pitching? Why aren't we going out and getting Montgomery? Why aren't we signing this guy? Why aren't we signing this guy? Why is Snell still on the market? Where is this guy still on the market? And for this starting pitching to basically every night leave the game with the Rangers being in that ball game I think that's a big step in the right direction for a pitching staff that we thought was going to be mid-level at best, for them to keep the Rangers in ball games every night. On nights where the Rangers aren't hitting, they give them an opportunity to stay in that ball game even when they're not hitting. So I'm going to vary a little bit different from you on that. and I won't go over because you pretty much summed it up. I think Eovaldi is, he's something special. He's fun to watch. But yeah, I give him a B+ on the starting pitching just because they kind of been keeping them in the game every night, day in, day out with whoever it is that takes the hill.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm going to save the our Down on the Farm commercial for a brief one here at the end and let you tell us about the two pitching matchups the Rangers have.
All right. Well, tonight it's Mackenzie Gore, who I'm looking forward to seeing because I haven't seen a whole lot of him, but I've heard of the name for a lot of years. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I think he was a San Diego Padre prospect, probably was part of the Juan Soto deal. He's going to be opposed by John Gray, who has made a couple of starts here in a row that have been really nice. Looking forward to him getting an opportunity to go out. That's a 7:05 game. Bally Sports Southwest for the TV, and I'll give you here Wednesday afternoon. We'll be back Thursday morning to talk about this game right here. But you've got Andrew Heaney opposed by, is it Trevor Williams? I want to say it's Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams is having a good year so far. He's 2-0 with a 2.70 ERA. Andrew Heaney had a handful of not great starts, but getting closer to good starts. Let's see where he's at. That's a 7:05 as well on May 1st, and that's a Bally Sports Extra because the Mavericks will be on Bally Sports that night playing the Clippers in Game 5 of the Western Conference playoffs. And back to you to wrap this thing up so we can get out of here on time.
Real quick, no explanation. What do you grade the Rangers first for April? What do you give the Rangers as a team for April?
I'm going to give them a B.
Same. I agree. Like B-ish, maybe a little sneak it up just a tad, but a B. We snuck out of April with our over 500 and still competing for the division. I am happy as I can be about it. I hope you guys are happy as you can be about it. Again, thanks for joining us here on the CTH network at Chilltown Hoops. Didn't mention it earlier. We're still getting used to I've been saying the same thing for the hundreds of episodes, and I'm still getting used to it. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
And that is where you can find us, find our exclusive content, Down on the Farm with the Boys. We cover all things Rangers, minor league. We got new content in there from this last weekend where we went around the entire minor leagues and talked about every single level from A-ball all the way up to AAA. Don't miss it. Just $1.99 per month. Make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization-wide on Spotify or on our website. You can also subscribe to our exclusive content on the CTH network at Chilltown Hoops. 3 different levels. Go check them out. That third level, you can hop on the show and chat with us a little bit. It would be a lot of fun. Thank you for everyone who subscribes or follows us on your favorite podcasting or on YouTube. We appreciate every single one of you. Big shout out to our farm hands on our exclusive content, Down on the Farm with the Boys. For the 300-pound manimal, this is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the Boys. We're signing out.